Now, the National Union of Metalworkers of South Africa has added its voice to the chorus of condemnation over yesterday's violent response by some members of the SAPS. Numsa says the working class is suffering because of government's austerity budget. I'm joined now by Numsa spokesperson Phakamile Hlubi-Majolo. Phakamile, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So in your statement, you actually go as far as condemning the ANC in particular when it comes to not providing free education.
Absolutely, Shahan. I think, first of all, as a trade union, we want to express our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Mthokozisi Ntumba, who did not deserve to die, who really had, it's so shocking that his life was cut short in such a horrific manner. So we want to send our condolences to him, to his family, and to his friends. And I think ultimately what we witnessed and what we know about this situation is that it is very clear that this government is attacking the working class, it's attacking workers and their families through their policies. They did this, first of all, through the budget speech, by cutting allocations to higher education spending. A total of more than 8 billion has been cut for higher education spending over the next 4 years. So that, coupled with the brutality of the police in response to protests, just shows you the complete picture of this government's attitude to the working class under these very, very trying economic conditions.
Yeah. Now, Ace Magashule addressed some protesters earlier, Phakamile, and just in response to what you're saying, I want to listen to what he told these students when it comes to free education.
Let me remind you, as students, your struggle is our struggle. Before you are students, you are part of those communities which have nothing. You come from the poor backgrounds, you come from the working class, and that's why the ANC resolved long time ago, 1955, Nasrec, in our election manifesto in 1994, in our election manifesto in 2019. That's why you voted some of our parties. But as students, I must tell you one thing. When we are students, you are students, you must all work together irrespective of political parties because your demands are the same. When you are a leader of students in the SRC, you must remember you represent the entire student body. You don't represent your own organization there. And that's how you will actually win this battle.
So, Phakamile, he says your struggle is our struggle, also playing to the tune of what students want to hear in an address like that. What do you reckon?
The ANC is very good at trying to sow confusion amongst members of the working class, to try and mislead them into thinking that as a party, they're not responsible for their suffering. They very much are responsible for the suffering of students right now. This government has completely failed. You'll recall, Shahan, that in 2017, the former president, Jacob Zuma, made a big announcement that going forward, NSFAS would be converted into a grant and there would be no more problems with access to tertiary education. And yet, how many student protests have we had to witness since that announcement has been made? It's frankly a disgrace. They're lying to the working class. There is no such thing as free education under the ANC government. What's been taking place in the last couple of days is glaring evidence of that, plus the decision taken to implement these austerity measures, which only worsened the situation. And I think it really is high time that, and we've always been consistent on this since 2013, Shahan, that the ANC are butchers of the working class. In the last 2 decades, we've seen the mass murder of mine workers who were protesting for a living wage. They were shot by police. Andries Tatane was murdered in April in April 10 years ago, actually, for service delivery protests demanding water. Also killed by rubber bullets at close range. This is the ANC. It is brutal to workers and their families.
And lastly, let me talk to you about joining this student protest action. Of course, you said that you would do that today. We're looking at the numbers. Of course, COVID-19 comes into play here, given as how many people can be out in the streets. Going forward, how will you support these students as Numsa?
Well, I think it was really important for members of the SAFTU affiliates to participate in that picket, and for us to be very clear, not just to be visible, but to be very, to amplify the demands of students, because whilst they're suffering on the one end, on the end of education, their parents are suffering in the workplace. This refusal to fund higher education is happening against the backdrop of massive retrenchments taking place in companies all over the country. It's taking place against the backdrop of people suffering because they have not received TERS payments, or the company has shut down and they have not been able to earn an income. So real suffering in our communities. Stats SA confirming that joblessness and unemployment has increased to a staggering 42.6%. That's the expanded definition of unemployment. So really, this is not just a struggle of students on their own. The working class has to come out. The working class has to support, because if students win genuine free education, that is a victory for all of us.
All right, thank you for speaking to us. Appreciate your time. Numsa spokesperson Phakamile Hlubi Majola.